Hi there, I am Dr. Noel Heath, Emeritus Professor of Inflatology at the University of Canberra, where I'm widely regarded as one of the biggest legends in the field of inflatology. Welcome to the greatest evening in the history of the world ever. Now, I have been watching TED Talks religiously for the past 13 hours, and I have succeeded in learning very little in a rapid amount of time. I have also learned the tropes and conventions of the TED Talk format. What a lot of speakers tend to do is start with a welcoming anecdote that puts the audience at ease and does the job of making the speaker more personable and fun. So that is what I will do now. So why inflatable men, Noel? I hear nobody ask. Well, for starters, quit interrupting me and I'll tell you. Well, it's actually a very interesting and amusing story. So, in July 2017, I was in Chichester, UK, with my ex-wife Kathy, and we were taking our newborn son Bartholomew on his first excursion outside of the home. This was going to be a boat safari in the Arundel wetlands. Kathy, who was suffering from postpartum depression at the time, remarked that she'd rather die than watch a pelican take flight. She was not happy, which is ironic because she would die on this trip. Yeah, I've just ruined the ending there, but all right, okay. So we were refueling at Emsworth motorway services, both son and wife crying in the back seat. I do not let my wife ride shotgun. So, as I say, I was refueling when I see a blacked out Ford Transit van quickly pull up into the forecourt and 5 or 6 big fuckers jump out armed to buggery with automatic weapons, bike helmets, and a sense of coordination that made me think, these guys aren't fucking around. Well, I finished pumping petrol and I blew on the end of my petrol pump like it was an old Western pistol. I wasn't scared, I felt pumped. Which again is ironic because of where I was, but instead of petrol, it was adrenaline. The gunsman piled into the petrol station shop. A panicked driver witnessing the commotion tried to U-turn and hightail it out of there, but accidentally reversed into one of the gunmen who dropped his rifle, causing it to misfire. The bullet ricocheted off a chap's belt buckle, causing a spark that ignited his cheap shell suit. He screamed in terror. The entire forecourt is terrified now. He ran around a bit like an engulfed chicken until the clerk barked at him to, roll on the ground. He did so but into a pool of petrol which set off a chain reaction of inferno as the fire quickly spread across the forecourt. Reacting to the commotion, the armed robbers ran outside and in a panic began to shoot indiscriminately into the crowd, believing it was the police. Very little in a 100-yard radius survived. Hawthorn bushes absolutely obliterated. I thought, damn, I reckon the coffee machine won't be in use after this. Kathy is down, meanwhile, in the footwell, crying. So men, women and children fell like dominoes. One errant bullet hit a haulage truck approaching its speed down on the M27. He lost control of the truck and it ploughed right into the forecourt, exploding and disintegrating hatchbacks and SUVs like they were puffball fungi. The giant neon Shell sign collapsed off the station front, dislodging a recycling bin that fell on an old woman. The truck then exploded itself and the truck passenger door shot out with so much force it decapitated all of the gunmen whose guns went off into the air, killing a passing pelican that fell onto a father of 3, breaking his neck. I laughed, look, Kathy, a pelican! But as I turned, I noticed I hadn't put the handbrake on, and our car was reversing onto the motorway as a cement mixer came careening down. My family blew up. It created a 30 to 40 car pile-up, which then caused a massive detonation, resulting in me falling back onto a shard of glass that punctured my lungs. A remaining survivor from inside the station ran out, tripped on me, spilling his scalding hot coffee onto my face. Then an exterior wall fell on me and ignited. And at that point, I began to be a bit worried that I might not make it to the wetlands. So the funny bit I'm trying to get to about the anecdote is that I did get my coffee in a way, and I did see a pelican. My wife and son died instantly. But here's the rub. My injuries were very severe. I had a dislodged pancreas. My left arse cheek was hanging loose. I lost about 80% of my body's mucus. Both lungs had popped and I felt a little dizzy. They put me on an iron lung machine, a negative pressure ventilator as well, and I did survive, obviously, of course, because I'm talking right now. The iron lung was inflating and deflating my ruined lungs for me. So that became my obsession and reason for today's TED Talk. I was an inflatable man, and I wanted to learn what I could about inflatable men and their role in society. Well, the first recorded inflatable man was the OG, the legend, the Michelin Man from way back in 1898. He was a fucking badass back then. Michelin Man was depicted as a gladiator, a kickboxer, a ballroom dancer. He drank and smoked cigars in an effort to appeal to the upper class. Why was he white? Well, did you know tyres were not black until 1912? Bet you didn't know that. But as he became popular, do you know what also inflated? Yeah, that's right, Nathan. His ego. He began working out, playing sports, running and biking. His figure noticeably trimmed. Then came a curveball. For some fucking reason, he went from being a tragic Frankenstein condom-looking creep to being the face of culinary perfection. This man tells you what the world's best restaurants are. I hope you're beginning to see the evolution and power that inflatable men can possess. Let's delve deeper. So, why inflatable men? And why is this now a scourge in Oslo, particularly in Grønland? Well, let's say about 130,000 years ago, give or take, the sea level would be where Grønland is now. If any humans were knocking about, they'd be trading in shells, fish, hides maybe, at the shorelines. In much more recent history, the area had, green fields, hence its name, and it became part of the old Oslo. After the fire of 1624, the town became Christiania, moved to Bjørvika Way, with the east part connected to Oslo via Grønland. It became a main conduit and artery. As we see here, not a lot of people knocking about. No greengrocers where the people of Oslo just decide to stand in the middle of the pavement for no fucking reason. No e-scooters. Harmonious. Commerce hadn't kicked in here, and because of a lack of commercial competition, we do not see advertising signs. Norway, unlike many medieval countries, had a population that practiced in diverse trade. Of course, there were fishermen, trappers, timber guys, miners, but it was more like you engaged in a range of these professions and then sold your products to a state-approved elite in town. This diversity continues to this day. You don't just sell kebabs, you sell Texas pizza burger kebab chips. In the 1970s, there were waves of migration to Oslo, bringing some notions of, flavour and seasoning, unknown things to the Norwegian palate. Alongside your boiled meat in brown sauce with boiled veg, you could find lamb shawarma, tandoori chicken, Persian flatbread, hummus, sumac, Turkish falafel. In the 1970s, Norwegians spent about as much money on food as they did transport, leisure and restauranting. Yet soon competition became fierce and one needed to differentiate yourself from your rivals. Hence the neon open sign we saw emerging in the 2000s.
Open. These open signs you see, the ones with the swishes up the top right and the bottom left, you see them everywhere. Well, that was me.
I don't know where else we could go.
Oh, here, look, we could go in there, that's open.
Aye.
Do not worry, we will soon get to the epidemic of the inflatable man. I just need to give you some context here. I just want to reiterate how the world of street commerce goes through cycles of competition, attempts to differentiate itself through unique marketing and branding, then to product exhaustion. It's only so many times you can talk about a revolutionary new razor or toothbrush before everyone shits in their pants from boredom. When was the last toilet paper innovation? Well, asked that myself, and I have actually found out, before toilet paper, people would shit in their hands, force it into the nearest rock crevice. But in 2023, there was a toilet paper innovation. I take it back. Charmin's smooth tear design, launched in late 2023, replaced the traditional straight perforation line with a wavy scalloped edge. This 5-year research and development effort aimed to prevent the dreaded uneven tear and provide a smoother, cleaner tear every time, and has been reported by Procter & Gamble to be a significant success, driving business growth and user satisfaction. This was a bad example. Here's a kebab man. Here is the OG man himself, the sovereign of Grønland, the Sultan. I first noticed this bulbous bastard in 2024. He's kind of hard to miss. The Sultan set the tone and standard for the inflatable kebab men of Grønland. This guy is the abomination of Alexandria. All men want to inflate him, and all women wish to be inflated by him. Note the features that will dominate the market. Always a moustache with an ethnically ambiguous face. You can't have them looking too haram or brown. A bit like when you see Jesus in the Bible. Now, as you will see as I, show you these shop fronts, displaying the repertoire of products is still important to the kebab men. So, as you'll see with the Sultan, you'll note the pizza, burger, kebab spunked onto his chest. These kebab men usually are holding something in one of their mangled claws, and the other is usually the air outlet, so there's an appearance that he's waving, beckoning you to Valhalla, to your demise. Here's another disgusting prick. Al-Basha. He crawled legless through 7 circles of shite and a regional Temu warehouse to wave his malformed pig hand to Grønland's dead-eyed skunk dealers. Toothless, repugnant hellbeast wore his enamel out, sucking endless robes of jism out of mariners' cocks to be here, drumming up sales to no one. Again, products displayed on his chest, unknown dish glued to his stump, waving his hoof at you. Look away now. Another one. Taste of Damascus. Apparently the taste of Damascus is frozen pizza. Who knew? Syrians fled the horrors of a civil war to delve headfirst into an even more hellish life here in Oslo. I have saved the worst one yet. Al-Homsa Shut Os. This demonic bovine is serving up homosexual meat to the residents of Grønland, and the police are doing nothing about it. It is horrifying. A cow feasting on his own kind, and no one bats an eyelid? We have reached a world beyond understanding. The inflatable men have expanded, and pardon the pun, they have expanded to the realm of the now mobile phone industry. Here's Mobile Husa. I don't know what's happening here. I do not wish to know. It's a weird child Dr. Robotnik type thing. There's no fucking moustache on this weird child thing strapped inside an android. It's a human robotic nightmare. But to understand what this means for our future, we need to address the origins. The high street is dying. 50 shops a day in the UK shutter. Many market streets or shopping fairs are empty wastelands now. Historic retailers being replaced by candy stores, betting shops, vape stores. But it's not all good news. Here in Oslo, the high street is beginning to look like those old cartoons with a stock background that repeats endlessly. But instead of cacti, it's fucking lost tacos after lost tacos. Soon all of Oslo will be a lost tacos, and Norwegians will fucking love it. In the same way that Kiri, Rema 1000, Joker, Bonpris, Meny have the same exact items, soon every street will have 3 to 5 lost tacos. Do you remember when we used to have these things called, diversity? Kind of bespoke places, fishmongers, craft stores, haberdashery. The days of craftsmanship. going to get your shoes repaired at a cobbler's, run and managed by local knowledgeable people, not dead-eyed TikTokers. You know, the kind of store managed by pudgy men who fart shallowly during coffee breaks, with calloused hands, mushroom penises. You'll miss shops like this when they're gone. Where hunters and woodcutters once slept in their boots by the dying light of their thousand fires and went on, now the fleeting glow comes from self-checkout screens and flickering kebab signage. The rise of internet shopping, Finn, Temu, Amazon. This is all the direct cause of the rise of the inflatable man. The ease and convenience of internet shopping means the high street has to offer something new, something tangible, physical. I know why it's fucking Balloon Men, but there we go. It marks the return to our high streets. Action, movement, colour. Now, I can't say too much more, because of the risk of the inflatable lobby coming after me and my family. They are a powerful, powerful lobby. There have been commodity and shopping innovations before. Walter Benjamin in his landmark Arcades project described and depicted the Paris shopping culture emerging in Paris in the 1930s. The phantasmagoric nature of consumer browsing, a world in miniature in these early enclosed shopping malls where customers can find everything they needed. For the first time in history, with the establishment of department stores, consumers began to consider themselves as a mass. We went through the post-war commodity fetishism of the 1950s, where people began to define themselves through the commodities that they had, dishwashers, vacuum cleaners. This grew into the rise of the American shopping mall, to televisual and satellite shopping, and now to the rise of internet shopping. The Temuization of the world, where everything is available instantly, and if you sign up to Klarna, you don't even have to pay for it. Yet. So what does the inflatable man say about us? Well, we aren't too dissimilar in many respects. Humans from birth, experience a rapid change of a liquid environment to one defined by land and air. The origin of the word inflate comes from inflatus, Latin, to blow into. We all act as inflators and rely on the ability to inflate our lungs to survive. I don't know why I just went weird with that accent. Anyway, COVID-19 devastated millions when it prevented humans the ability to easily perform this essential function. We breathe in oxygen, expel CO2. The inflatable man speaks to the impermanence of man, a colourful facade that masks the inner emptiness that many of us feel. Our walls, our boundaries are surprisingly thin, and we are tethered to our jobs with fixed grins gesticulating to those who float by in highly cultivated life vessels. To be a modern man is to be fit to burst, plunged overboard into interstitial wastes, at all stages, registered, counted, taxed, stamped, measured, numbered, assessed, licensed, authorized, admonished, prevented, forbidden, reformed, corrected, and punished. Resistance to life's hot air requires these forms to be filled in. To register formally one's protest with the town council, to stand within these lines, clearly demarked, and to have one's message pre-approved. The unity of humans in their scattered species is now based on the fact that all of them, in their respective regions and histories, have been outstripped, synchronized, affected from a distance, shamed, torn open, connected and overtaxed. They have become locations of a vital illusion, addresses of capital, points in the homogeneous space to which one returns and which return to themselves. More seen than seeing, more acquired than acquiring, more reached than reaching. We are swollen like the kebab men, with expectations of one's standard passage through life, pockmarked with marriage, children, a house close to a good school. We pack ourselves down every night into our box just like the kebab men, withered and ill-formed, thoughts and desires chipping away. Anything would be better than this agony of mind, this creeping pain that gnaws and fumbles and caresses and never hurts quite enough. The art of making one's way through the worldwide labyrinth of shopping malls, advertising hoardings, and travel portals without becoming weary demands interrupting the banality of comfort through the constant reinvention of irritations. We, like Oslo's kebab men, are a spectral presence. The interiority of the modern person has been decimated. The beacons marking my existence today centre around my digital imprint, my sign-ins, my checkouts, my tweets, my Altin login, my VIPs, my likes, my dislikes. Our identikit flats, our apartments, can be understood as the studio of self-relationships or a nursing home for interdeterminacies. The defining piece of rental furniture is IKEA's lack range, as though the Swedish pamperer has sought to tap into the Lacanian notions of psychic lack, the yearning of not any particular item or product, but an internally located yet diffuse yearning for completeness and self-contentment. If it cannot be found on Finn, what is the point of living? Within these dwellings, the decoration matches the soothing qualities of psych wards, and faux wood floors can easily wipe away the spillages and bodily fluids of assembly line renters. The kebab men also speak to a flailing desperation of the high street, the last attempt to capture, trying to attract and seduce potential consumers overwhelmed with options and choices. He is waving to you, dreamlike, like a siren onto rocks and potential food poisoning. The kebab man is stuck, perennially waving, smiling, beckoning. There must be more to the inflatable man. Dwell on it before you return to your dwelling with your plastic fork and tray of regret. Ponder the things inside, and can you guess his shape, where he's kept or what's the counter of his face? Dear friend, he is not to be dwelt upon, for it is just such wise that he's invited in. Nobody is quite sure where the trend of the inflatable men will go. I expect bigger and more widespread before an inevitable burst and crash. Rest assured, fine people of Oslo, I shall be there as the world's leading inflatologist to catalogue, challenge, and document this phenomenon. All that is solid gets trapped into air. I thank you for your time, and I wish you the best.